Oh, let me see if that's working. Yes. Forgot to turn my microphone on, folks, but there you go. Morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all well. Great to see the early birds out and about. Kevin, all the way from Florida. Evening to you. Morning from Australia. Brendan. Jeff. David is in the house. Aaron's here too. Got a Facebook user or two, which is awesome. Morning, James. Morning, Kumi. All right. Hopefully you're well, folks. While things are warming up and doing their thing, I'll do the quick sort of intros. Make sure everyone's on the same page. Jason Witten's my name. You probably already know that. I'm sure you do. But if you're new, and if you didn't, there you go. You know it now. Welcome along to a Wealth Coffee Chat. We do this each weekday, mostly each weekday. We talk about what's going on out there in the world of property. There is always a lot to talk about. Aussies like real estate as an investment vehicle. They like it as a bit of a sport. And there's always lots to talk about. Tonight, the budget is on, but we'll talk about that maybe tomorrow. But today, we're going to talk about something else. So there you go. If you're new, give us a shout out in the chat. Let us know where you are. Alex is all the way from Cairns. Alex, how are you, mate? Good to see you. David Johnson's here as well. Hey, listen, record. Another record broken. It does sound like a broken record. Broken record by saying record. But you know what? It's interesting. It's interesting. There is a lot going on in the market. Plenty to be, aware of, paying attention to. And one of these things might be a little bit of an early, not necessarily an early warning sign, but an early indicator of things to come. And it's always great to get ahead of the market, be in position for when things change, go your way, whatever it might be. And one of these things that has been reported by realestate.com. Anyone want to try and take a guess at what it might be? Record level. This thing has surged to record levels as migration has hit its highest point in 3 years. Let's go to it anyway. Let's have a look. Let's get the show on the road. Do that one. What is it? Well, overseas interest in Aussie properties surge to record levels as migration hits its highest point in 3 years. Migration's up. So we've got, a record migration. We've got our lowest vacancy rate, I think, ever in history. We've got crazy low supply, if not the lowest in over 20 years. I think it was over 15 years the other day for houses and over 20 years for apartments. We've got our lowest unemployment or highest employment, or so unemployment. And now we've got record levels of interest from overseas in Australian real estate, and the list would go on, folks. The list could go on. We could go continuous there. Record. Now, it's not necessarily something that we all want to be having records for. For me, for you, a record number of interest rate rises. So 10 in a row, the fastest ever, and so on. So there you go. There's a lot to consider in this moment in time. But what does this one mean? What does this lots of interest from overseas mean to us as property investors? That's what we want to have a bit of a talk about today. Interestingly, as we look at, some of the things, what are they looking for? There is still a lot of interest in buying, and still a lot of interest in renting as we move into this next phase of the Aussie property market. I was going to say, all right, well, I'm going to give you a little name the top 5. Here it is. Get involved. Get your thumbs ready in the chat. Name the top 5 countries. Top 5 countries of interest or inquiry for Australian real estate, folks. What are the top 5 countries, according to realestate.com, that are searching and looking at and for real estate in Australia? What do you guys think? Who would, and name them in order if you think you might give it a whirl. And if it's a bit hard, name the top 2 or 3. Top 5's plenty. It could take you a while. In the past, traditionally, someone's saying, okay, India, England, and China. Yep, they are definitely in the top 3. There's 2 in there that surprised me. Not necessarily surprised me, but one of them surprised me. One's fairly China, NZ, and India. There you go. Yep, China, Singapore. Yep, let's do it. Let's have a look. All right, here we go. So up the top here, we've got the UK. Now, I don't know if this is in volume over here, but we've got the UK. So England. Did anyone get England there? Yeah, boom. We've got the Kiwis, NZ. We've got the US. That one surprised me. I don't know about you. That one surprised me. People wanted to move from the States, but fair enough. Australia is not a bad place to live. And down here, we've got Singapore, we've got China, and we've got India. So that was the top 6. I should have said the top 6, but I said the top 5. But anyway, there you go, folks. Lots of inquiries from people looking to move to Australia. We all know because we're paying attention. We're paying attention, aren't we, when it comes to the world of property, that when a lot of people want to move here and we've got low supply and low vacancy, that's pretty good for us. What is driving? Let me say this. There's two things driving these inquiries right now. And a couple of things we can do to take advantage of it. All right. Take advantage of it. Be on the right side of the ledger. Be prepared. Be ready. What are 2 main things right now driving this immigration? And what are the 2 kind of activities, things that people are coming to the country for? And we're going to talk about where they're going or where they're looking in a second. All right. So 2 major things that most of these people are looking to do, and it's probably pretty obvious to be frank. But two things. Number one, they're coming for jobs. There's a lot of work in Australia. I just I said the other day I popped over to WA and hung out with a few buddies of mine in the mining industry, and wow, that place was pumping. Has anyone ever been to, the Perth airport in the Qantas terminal first thing in the morning? The FIFO workers, unbelievable. The place was chockers. And they were saying, listen, we just can't get enough people. We can't get enough skilled people to do the work. There's so much work going on. So jobs. Australia's got jobs. So many jobs available. We've got our lowest unemployment ever. I think our highest ever participation rate ever. That's great news for people who want to work. That's great news for the country. It's great news for us as property owners and investors. And the other one, this one here, the other thing, students. Lots of students. Heaps of students, okay? Massive amounts of students coming back to the country. And they're pretty keen to study in Australia. Right. What's the number one? Let's talk about this. What's the number one? There are two cities that rule them all when it comes to overseas landings where these searches are happening. And we've talked about this before, so we're probably going to give away the answer. But hey, what's the number one? Put number one and number two cities. Number one city search. Number one searched city across all of these except for one. Okay, the New Zealanders. Let's say this. What's the number one search city for everyone except for the New Zealanders? And what's the New Zealanders' number one search city? Folks, tell me in the chat. What do you reckon? The first one should be a no-brainer. Most of you should know this. What's the number one searched city in Australia for overseas searches? It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? And once you've got that one, or once you think you got that one, David's on it. Boom, Melbourne. You did right, David. Melbourne's the most populous city. And for majority reasons, it's Melbourne, then it's Sydney. Allison, so you got number one, which is Melbourne, number two, which is Sydney. All right, here's the trick question. Where do the Kiwis like to go? Sydney for the Kiwis, David? Oh, no, not Sydney, according to realestate.com anyway, realestate.com. Where are the Kiwis searching? Maybe they're moving to different places, but according to realestate.com, the search, thinking. Boom, NZ is on the Gold Coast. Yes. Who's that? Who was Perth? It's not a bad idea, actually, James. I think the Kiwis like the sun, huh? A lot of the Kiwis like to move to somewhere where it's sunny and got the beach and so on. Anyway, I'm the opposite. I want to move from the Gold Coast and I want to go live in Queenstown. But there you go. Check this out. We've got Melbourne. We've got Melbourne. The United States like Sydney. So Sydney gets a little win here as we go. And then you see Sydney number two, Sydney number two, Sydney number two. The UK, got Perth in there in number three. So very interesting as you go. So there, and here we go. Hong Kong or got Melbourne. And here it is that New Zealanders like the Gold Coast, then Melbourne, then Brisbane. Interestingly enough. There you go. And Singapore, Melbourne, Sydney. Makes sense, doesn't it? It does make sense that, the bigger cities get a lot of the attention on the way into the country. And, we've had this chat before where once somebody lands in the country, internal migration, Queensland gets the win. Queensland gets the major win and has done for decades now. So Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne fill up, and then Sydney and Melbourne spill out. Mostly Sydney to the Gold Coast, Brisbane, and whatever. And there's lots and lots of increases in what's going on with what are they searching for? Rents up, rents. Rents. So what's the go? What can we take away from this as property investors? We Yeah, I think they do get sick of the cold. What can we take away from this as property investors, folks? Well, what we can take away is a lot of people are planning on getting their go at moving to Australia, and they're searching for where they can rent. Right now, both you and I know that there's not a lot to rent in Oz right now, and it's pretty competitive, and the rents are going up. And if we own real estate, are going to be probably on the right side of the ledger for this one. The challenge for the marketplace right now, two things going on in the marketplace, two things in the Australian world of property. Number one, this build to rent world, right, is removing free market. It's removing free market product or free market rents from the marketplace. So this developer here was going to build something, maybe an office tower, maybe some residential properties with an office tower, and they've basically said, nah, we're not going to do that at all. We're just going to build to rent. Build to rent means it's renters only in the building, and that is a 20-year plan for that building. So the supply there is being removed out of the free market. You and I couldn't buy it. An owner-occupier couldn't buy it, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not coming to market. And what else is going on that's going to slow down these issues or slow down the marketplace? And that is certainly we have problems with delivery. Very sadly, very, very sadly for the world of real estate, we've had a lot of builders go bust. And this year, I think there will be a few more. You need to know what builders are where if you're going to be purchasing. You know, on the flip side, that shortens supply. And if you've got the right type of real estate being delivered for you as an investor, then you'll be in the driver's seat with values and rentals. So what's the takeaway, folks? The takeaway is this. The next 12 to 18 months, I think, and we can see with the stats, let's go to this one. Let's go here. We can see the stats that the rents are certainly still improving. They're still going up in a direction, the average weekly rent. How about this? Check this out. In 2020, there you go, 2020, that the house rent, I mean, it was at 550 something, but it dropped down a little bit, right? Average house rent, 530, and in a 3-year period, you know, gone up to 759. And I think it will still increase. I think it'll slow down because people don't have endless wage stretch. So we've got to watch where we purchase our properties if we want our rents to grow, you know, and and the units as well have had some pretty significant uplift in their market values, rent values and market values. Anyway, there you go, folks. What is the takeaway for us as investors? There's a lot of people just arrived in the past 12, 18 months that there will be a continuous population improvement, immigration in the next foreseeable future. And for you and me, if we can navigate with our financials and our funding and our strategy, we're going to be, I think, quite well rewarded if we buy the right type of property in the right spot. So there you go. Anyway, that's it. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted for today, folks. Thanks for joining me, as always. If there's something that you want me to have a chat about, leave me a little note in the comments, in the chat. I'll catch up, always read them afterwards and see what I can put together. But remember, there's a couple of sayings around here. You guys know the drill. Buy well, don't sell. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time. Buy a good property and keep the damn thing. All right. As we go, I think you'll be all right, Alison. Yep, the ARIA one's coming soon, and yeah, that's a good quality property from a good quality developer in a great spot. So fingers crossed. I think you'll be in the driver's seat on that one. Anyway, folks, done and dusted. Over and out for today. Join me for another one, if you're up for it, tomorrow, round about 8:10. All right, that's it. I'm done. You guys take care. Have a great day. Bye for now.